Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Alderman Bogart.
Here.
Alderwoman Ravenscraft.
Here.
Alderman Colbert.
Here.
Alderman Bell. Alderman Wilson.
Here.
Alderman Lewis.
Here.
We do have a quorum, so I'll call this meeting to order. Can I get a motion to approval for June 18th, 2024 meeting minutes, please?
So moved.
Have a second? Second by Mr. Wilson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I get a motion to approve of agenda tonight?
So moved.
Have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Moving on, special items, we have none. Appointments to boards and commissions, none. Scheduled public comment from Valerie Forst, reference water bill. She is not present. Not present. Just a reminder that all special or public comments must be into the city clerk Wednesday before the meeting date. Appreciate that. Public hearing, we have none. Council bill on first reading, Council bill number 2024-22, adopting the land use development code. Staff report, please.
All right, as you all know, we've been working on this for many years, and Elizabeth Garvin of Claret Associates was going to do a little presentation this morning, but because of technical issues and timing, she's not able to. So I'm going to turn it over to Brian Harrington of Allstate Consultants to do a very, very brief, he promises very brief overview of where we stand right now.
Well, this PowerPoint presentation was prepared by Elizabeth, and she's not given it. I have not given this presentation, so please bear with me. I will probably kind of run through some things pretty quick. The next slide, this just basically touches on the project goals that we started out with, implementing the comprehensive plan, determining what the public's priorities were and what improvements were needed, ensuring that this was a the code was unique to Ashland and not just a cut and paste from somebody else's. Ease of use was an important component. Making those of you that are familiar with the existing code, it's in a lot of pieces. It's developed over time and has many places that conflict within itself, and so trying to clean that up as we go through, and then having buy-in through the public process all the way through was an important goal as well. Go ahead to the next slide. So this was some of the components that we went through with the comprehensive plan. We started with the existing code, existing regulations. Elizabeth took those, she went through them, tried to determine where the conflicts were, what could be brought forward and what did not. We've worked with the Planning and Zoning Commission. We had several meetings for community input, and tried to get input throughout the process so that the community shaped the code. I think I just kind of touched on this a little bit, but assessing what is in the code was really a big part of this starting out. It took some time to kind of unwind some of the items that are in there and get our arms around where the challenges were. And current rate, let's see, we've touched on all this. But stormwater regulations, that was one point that was brought up in community input. We heard from the community that we wanted to be proactive about stormwater, but we also didn't want to go overkill on that. And so this code strives to kind of meet in the middle, so to speak. These are not as stringent as some of the other communities in the area, but they're also have enough teeth in them that we can develop the community can develop in a manner that will not cause problems down the road. And that's really what the goal of that is. The detention regulations is one point in that. Currently, Ashland requires a 25-year detention. This now requires a 2, 10, and 100-year detention. The calculation procedures are based on an accepted APWA, American Public Works Association document for the calculation procedures. Those are kind of universal, but it's a cleaner document than the cut and paste that we had before. Trying to see if there's any others we want to touch on that. Part of the input was finding the balance on open space and having areas that developed that we kept timber in, but also not creating a burden to the city as far as a maintenance perspective. Go ahead to the next one, Tom. So basically, the existing code was in chapters 9, 10, and 11. We've reworked all those, Elizabeth has, with us and then the Planning and Zoning Commission and all this community input. And they've come into these 18 chapters that are shown on the right. We're also, some of the stuff in chapter 12, which is the public infrastructure, was no longer necessary, so there's a little bit of cleanup in that. But primarily we focused on 9, 10, 11 on this, and came up with the new code. Zoning districts. So we have, for the most part, kept the zoning districts as they were. We've added a couple in order to give some flexibility that we didn't have in the existing code. There's a mixed use component. There's a downtown component that we have basically allowed no park, or not required the off-street parking in the downtown area that the rest of the code requires in other areas. That was one that was talked about in P&Z significantly. Go ahead and go on to the next one. It's one of the keys in this is the way the organization is. You can see the uses listed on the left, and then as you read across this chart, the zoning districts are across the top. If it has an X in that, it's not allowed. A C is a conditional use, and an A is an accepted use. So it's a quick way to go in there if you come in with I want to have a outdoor sales lot, which is the second one down there. It's a quick way to look to see what zoning districts those are in. And then there are, when there's use-specific standards that need a little more additional input, those are quick linked there on the right, so we can go directly to those parts in the code as needed. We updated some of the communication facility standards, wireless communication facilities, and basically it's a technology fields are really hard in zoning codes because the technology changes so rapidly. So we brought some of those up to current standards, and also I think that covers that page. So there was a discussion on sign regulations, parking regulations, and open space, parks and open space, and also a place for requiring open space dedication in subdivisions, but also giving a chance for a fee in lieu requirement, and if it doesn't make sense to just dedicate it. We talked a lot about the ability to have a sliding scale on some of these items that as you're redeveloping, if we're adding 10% to a site, to a building, well, some of those components, such as the parking, can be adjusted by that 10% rather than trying to retroactively hit the entire parking requirement for that lot. That's a way to try to encourage the redevelopment of some areas rather than just abandoning that and moving to a new site. Go ahead. Subdivision regulations, a lot of this was clarifying what the requirements were, clarifying procedures and how to go through that, take a subdivision from start to the finish, through the city's processes. That's one of the things from a development side that we heard, that we needed clear direction as they come in with a new project, that they understood everything, and it was set from the start. So that involved the stormwater regulations as well. And then we took any specific engineering sections and left them outside this, so that they're the technical side, whereas this is the zoning side. Go ahead. This is piggybacks onto the procedures that I talked about, trying to give a clear direction of, depending on what the process you're trying to do, whether it's a site plan or a subdivision, this gives you direction, gives the reader a direction of how to get through the process and what's going to be required. You're going to need approval from the zoning administrator, you're going to need planning zoning commission, or you're not, depending on where you're at in the chart. And then when it comes to this body and where the decision is made for each one of those items, and the few spots where it has to go to the Board of Adjustment. This is a list of all the different meetings we've had on this, and where we've had public review drafts published. You can see this has gone on for quite some time. We've had a lot of opportunities for feedback on that. Go ahead. Some of the recent Planning Zoning Commission items, these were all things that were discussed and modified. We, as I go through there, some of the more significant ones were the refinements to the landscape standards. We had to address some things that I think our first blush was probably a little too over the top, and so that was backed off a little bit. We eliminated the downtown parking requirement I talked about earlier. We clarified some of the site plan review thresholds, and then have gone back and forth with editing and making those changes. So I ran through these, and I apologize for that. Part of that is because I wasn't prepared to make the presentation, but I am happy to answer any questions, or at least try to.
Any questions?
Make it easy on me. I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
What do you think?
Good. I just have one more thing to add about that, and that is, so on the presentation it said chapter 9, 10, 11 were basically reworked and absorbed in chapter 9. There is one section basically relating to building that will stay in chapter 10, and that's for building and building permits and everything related to that. Everything else has been absorbed into the new chapter.
Your motion to accept it?
We got an ordinance, first reading of an ordinance here.
Need a motion to approve first reading?
So moved.
Second by Alderman Bell. Alderman Bocart?
Aye.
Alderman Ravenford?
Aye.
Alderman Cooper?
Aye.
Alderman Bell?
Aye.
Alderman Wilson?
Aye.
Alderman Lewis?
Aye.
Oh, business. Orders number 1480, an orders approving Green Pastures Plat 2. Staff report, please.
All right, really quick, this is the replat of Green Pastures Plat 2 subdivision. This was requested, basically it's a minor subdivision, and it was for the owners of Devin and Christina Winder, and the submitting firm was Muirbrook LLC Land Surveying, and this is the second read, and Christina Lubert of Lubert Engineering performed the review. So a recap, this is down Henry Clay South, just west of South Winds, down almost Old 63. It is actually Old 63. So they took one lot, divided it in half, so it makes up approximately 2 acre parcels. And the purpose for this was to gain access to the sewer, and then to split the sewer for the 2 lots, with 1 lot possibly being sold or retained for a future family. There is currently on the south lot a house already that was on the lagoon, which will be removed and taken out of service before any building permit is issued on the north lot. So staff recommends approval of the replat of the Green Pastures Plat 2 subdivision. Appear to have met the intended requirements of the city code, and of course it was recommended approval by planning commission.
Any questions for staff? I get a motion approving ordinance 1480 and ordinance approving Green Pastures Plat 2.
So moved.
Second.
Bell, thank you. Alderman Lewis.
Aye.
Alderman Wilson.
Aye.
Alderman Bell.
Aye.
Alderman Covert.
Aye.
Alderman Ravencraft. And Alderman Bocart.
Aye.
All right, moving on, reports and discuss Redbud Lane one-way traffic.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. For this evening, I have an informational agenda memo regarding the Redbud Lane traffic study and proposed changes. As you are aware, we recently conducted multiple traffic studies in the region to assess the need for Redbud Lane to continue to maintain 2-way traffic or to convert that to 1-way traffic. Those studies were completed along with a particular focus on the intersection of Redbud Lane and North Henry Clay Boulevard, which has a sharp angle. Through the reports from the engineering firm, multiple vehicles, so the majority of the traffic is eastbound on Redbud Lane. The majority of the traffic on this 100 to 400 block of Redbud Lane also makes its way to North Henry Clay Boulevard intersection, where the majority of the traffic turns right, facing a 40-degree angle, and frequently enters the oncoming lane. It should be noted, Redbud Lane's width of approximately 12 feet is not conducive to common standards to include MoDOT, AASHTO, and the city of Ashland for 2-way lane widths. Minimum standard will be 10 foot per lane for a minimum paved width of 20 feet. Currently, City Ashland code, at least until we get another second read, requires a minimum of 22 feet of paved roadway section for any new constructed street, and that would be designated as an alley. All that said, I see that I forgot to include this in my memo, but it is staff's recommendation that the 100 to 400 block range of Redbud Lane be converted from 2-way traffic to 1-way traffic, and that traffic direction be westbound. While that is opposite of the majority of the traffic traveling on that stretch of roadway right now, it eliminates the issue of traffic turning into oncoming lanes at North Henry Clay Boulevard intersection. In speaking with city administration, we've elected to present an ordinance. If the board is agreeable, we'll present an ordinance of such for a first read at the next meeting on July 16th. And upon completion of passing both the first and second reading, we will be in a position where we are ready to install signage and make that conversion complete on August 7th.
So the traffic study says go west to east, and we're suggesting east to west.
Yes, sir. Because
And because of the mailboxes and everything else, or?
well, it's in
Just traffic safety.
yeah, the traffic safety. The concern is that if we continue to allow 2-way traffic on Redbud Lane, and knowing that that issue exists, that there could be the possibility of some liability extending to the city of Ashland were a motor vehicle accident or injury to occur. It is really our duty to bring our streets into compliance with common standards. Unfortunately, because of the angle of that intersection, it really forces us to where we have to pursue westbound traffic only.
Have we reached out to the residents along?
No, sir, that would be, if the board's agreeable to moving forward in this process, that would be the first step where we will hang door tags, mail letters, sure that we will have scheduled some public meeting for that, next board meeting on the 16th. We are well aware that this change may not be perceived positively by several folks along that route. However, we really don't have a lot of choice. So we'll do everything we can to make sure they're properly informed and have an opportunity to voice their opinion.
The gentleman that parks the truck at the old recycling lot, is that gonna hinder, what will he have to do?
He doesn't come in on Red Bud.
He doesn't come in that way, he just comes
I
in?
believe he turns down off Broadway onto Bass Street and
Bass.
comes down, then turns westbound into that lot. He could then maneuver back out of that lot and head back north, or excuse me, south on Bass Street and then either direction on Broadway as he sees.
I'm assuming that's one way all the way to Maine.
Yes, sir, between North Henry Clay Boulevard and North Main Street. The 500 and 600 blocks of Red Bud Lane, because of the dead end and the residential structures there, we can't do that. On that end, we have to continue to allow two-way traffic as there's no other outlet.
It says you would implement it on August 7th.
Yes, sir.
How'd you arrive at that date? It's a Thursday.
That's what the city administrator told me to do.
I'm not a traffic expert. I wondered if it was selected for any particular reason.
You know, and I can go back, there's some history on this. We've looked at doing this in the past.
It's a Wednesday, it's the day after we approve the second reading. So that is the earliest we can start implementing.
I'm in 25, but still, when you want to do that, like on a Sunday?
I don't care when we do it, that's just the earliest date that it
So,
can be.
yeah.
We can
Yes, sir.
start, we
I
can
do have a
start
question.
movements on the 7th.
So if we're coming one way, all the way down to Main Street, are there any issues with the right along the recycle lot?
6 is the election.
That seems gonna be one of the inconvenient times, like if I wanted to go to the food trucks from here, I have to go all the way around?
You
Get there?
Go right over there to Ash.
Ash and back
down
up.
Ash.
I was gonna say, yeah, just.
Ash to College.
Yeah.
That way around or
Yeah,
that way
just come
around?
back.
If I wanna park in front of the post office and not break the law coming from my house, my typical route is, so I'll have to go that extra block around.
Or go to the roundabout.
Yeah. But other than that, you know, I do agree that west to east would be the way to go. Thinking about convenience of, the ladies that go to the hair studio. You know, they're used to turning in there to get to the hair studio. Now, when they're done, you know, they're gonna kind of probably need to be coached that they're gonna have to turn left to get out rather than break
Yes,
the
sir.
law and go.
So we have in stock already back from the main roundabout project we completed with MoDOT, quite a pile of one-way
How did that
and
go when we turned the streets into one way?
The one that,
went well.
that,
We did it for what, all 12 hours?
yeah,
24 hours?
Works out.
But, and that's why it's so important to focus on, you know, in memory serves, right? We didn't do much in the way of public meetings other than just a standard board meeting. We didn't go put flyers or send letters to all the residents that were affected. We did that completely wrong. And we learned that lesson the hard way. So this time around, we want to make sure that we do it right.
Well, when you done it over here before?
We did, so yes, ma'am.
Yeah, cause I had the restaurant there, cause I was cussing you out.
Well, in all fairness, I did it at the direction of the city administrator.
But he wasn't the
Yeah.
one.
Now, don't hold back. What do you really think?
No, I'm just telling you.
I gather.
You know?
But-
Really, it wasn't that inconvenience, because I just came up, yeah, it wasn't.
And it's unfortunate, but it's change. And humans, as a species, are hesitant to change.
And I would be tempted, when you send these letters out, right, that makes sense. And I don't know how delicately this should be suggested, but I am in the legal opinion that you are correct. This is not an option, we need to do this. And so I don't want the impression to be made, we'd like your input. No, we'd like your blessing. We'd love your blessing, but no.
Well, yeah, ultimately, right, with the traffic study that says people are leaving in
We're
another
telling you.
lane of traffic, like there really isn't a choice.
And so as a result, I think those letters, at the risk of being unduly blunt, should say, this is what we're gonna do.
They'll
Yeah.
basically do the schedule and when they can come, voice their concerns.
That's-
I imagine you'll inform all of the businesses right along the church and everything too, they'll be included in all of that.
Oh,
Yes, so there will be multiple press releases, social media push, it will be a lot of time walking and knocking and hanging door tags and mailing letters out. We have a newsletter coming out later this month on utility bills. There might be an opportunity to use that as a forum to start putting the word out about this.
There's no like random utility lines hanging over Redbud. I mean, I know there's still some old poles and such. Are there any clearance issues through there?
No, sir. No, you know, and so really there's a minimum height that all of the overhead utilities are required to adhere to, and I failed to grasp that number, but it's around 14 and a half feet. Our backhoe, we utilize to go down Redbud routinely. The Stinger on the rear of it is just under that threshold, and we've not had any clearance issues, other than occasionally like with a down limb or an ice storm or something that's out of the norm.
Cause I'm just thinking the Domino's truck is going to be driving down that road, right?
That's the way it goes right now.
Already does.
Does he just goes all the way through?
Why would you do that?
Probably because he doesn't want to turn into the opposite lane of traffic, getting on the interplay.
I mean, he gets there.
Oh, they've got a second way to get out.
Well, I know, but still, if you turn back
There's no
towards the
rhyme or
roundabout,
reason to how he goes in.
you have to go
It's
through
different every time.
the opposite lane of traffic.
Any other question for James?
We'll keep trucking along.
Thank you, guys. Moving on to new business, resolution 2024-46, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement to provide law enforcement off-duty services for the Cattlemen's Day Rodeo.
This is the same thing we did last year, just a contract between the city and the Cattlemen Days Rodeo Association. They pay us, pay the city directly, and the city takes out an administrative fee that's been determined by the treasurer, and then the officers get the extra pay.
Any questions? Pretty cut and dry. All right, can I get a motion approving resolution 2024-46, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into agreement to provide law enforcement off-duty services with the Cattlemen's Day Rodeo?
So moved.
Can I have a second, please? Second by Mr. Colbert, thank you. Alderman Volkart?
Aye.
Alderman Craig Ramscraft?
Aye.
Alderman Colbert?
Aye.
Alderman Bell?
Aye.
Alderman Wilson?
Aye.
Alderman Lewis?
Aye.
Moving on, resolution 2024-47, a resolution approving the request for the dandelion with regards to alcohol, allowing alcohol in the staff report, please.
It's just a resolution to follow up the request that was made at our last meeting. We kept it pretty simple. The Board of Aldermen hereby allows alcohol to be sold and consumed at the city park during Pride Fest event. Alcohol is permitted at the beer garden on July 21st, 2024.
It's like a softball game where they also,
I know.
there's a softball game that day, where it's already approved to have alcohol at the softball game.
And then the softball game at night,
Not that that matters, just
Woohoo!
anecdotally.
All day long.
all day.
Just start their morning.
Well, it starts at what, 10,
It's like 9 to 2.
92, and then the ball game starts at 4, James, is that right?
Yes, 4 to 8.
Gotta take a break from this.
So
it's
it's
over.
a 2-hour break in between. So
7-inning stretch.
So can I get a motion to approve resolution 2024-47, a resolution approving the request from the dandelion with regards to allowing alcohol in the park?
So moved. Second.
First by Mr. Lewis, second by Alderman Bell. Alderman Volkart?
Aye.
Alderman Rutherford?
Aye.
Alderman Colbert?
Aye.
Alderman Bell?
Aye.
Alderman Wilson?
Aye.
Alderman Lewis?
Aye.
Moving on to reports. Since we're talking about Redbud, College, and Bass, and all that, could we take a look at the sidewalk on College? There's a section, I don't know if it's overgrown, buckled, or what, but there's like grass in between the sidewalks. I don't know if it's been completed.
What block?
It's in behind the Legion, street behind the second block. Bathrooms are we scheduled to get them unlocked on Sundays for softball games? Last Sunday they were not unlocked.
I will coordinate that with the police department.
Just a date reminder, fireworks on the 20th, Pride Fest on the 21st. Sunday is the first softball game, and Lakeside Ashland zip line is open and running, so that's awesome. I got a big old eagle on the side of it. And that is my report.
Several people rode it last Thursday and they all lived.
Yes.
It looks
And they
fun.
loved it. It was
Yeah.
at night too. It had lights on it. It's pretty cool at night.
They just announced a new event. They're going to do their, grand opening of, volleyball courts.
Yes.
And a concert coming up.
City administrator report.
Larry Phillips retired from the water department last Friday. He was here for 22 years, so if you see him around town, be sure to thank him for his service. We had a nice little staff luncheon, surprise retirement party for him, so that was well received. I think we reported on this a couple months ago, but the city, as part of our ongoing efforts to kind of reduce our property and casualty losses, have been kind of taking some pretty aggressive steps towards employee safety and workplace safety. So we had the opportunity to enter in the Missouri Safe Driving Safety Program contest that's sponsored by MoDOT, AAA, and Missouri Employer Mutual. City of Ashland ended up winning that contest, so we're coordinating to go out to St. Louis to be presented with that award and do some press releases and whatnot on that. So I think we had 5 or 6 drivers participate in that program. So not a whole lot of participation in the grand scheme of things, but it was a voluntary sign up to participate in that safe driving contest. So we're happy with the performance of the employees that participated. Our lead service line inventory kicked off this morning down at the water shop. That should be a fairly quick turnaround on that once they kind of get a baseline and get moving forward on that inventory for us. So more to follow on that. Park master planning, we're gonna have a kickoff with the consultant next Friday. Website update, I've inundated you with emails on that, so no need to really provide any additional report there.
It looks so much better.
We're getting there. It doesn't look better right now.
Look at the demo.
We're actively working with city attorney and city prosecutor regarding code enforcement and just kind of cleaning up and updating our process there. So more to follow on that. Then this will just be the last call for the 4th of July parade. I think we have Reese, Kristen, and Brenda, and James will be driving them. So if anyone else wants to participate, if you're here, let us know and we'll get you in the truck.
I should be able to.
All right,
We're
we
gonna
got
make
Rick.
the call at like 7 AM or whatever.
Yeah, if they cancel.
We'll have the trolley, but it's gonna be chock full of like kids or something. I'll be there.
There's room in James' truck for Rick.
Do what?
Kids or something.
Kids or something, yeah.
Yes, sir.
I think that's all I had on my list.
City attorney's report.
Very briefly, I had talked about this several months ago, but I completed a model ordinance for social media, and it's in response to a series of Supreme Court cases, one of which was on Wednesday. I will get that to city staff and put it on the agenda for next time. It basically says, here are the folks that are authorized to speak on behalf of the city, and that is becoming legally significant now. But just wanted to bring it to your attention. I had mentioned it months ago and didn't do it, but I have now. And so I will have that for you all next time. Thank you.
Police chief, monthly report.
I emailed Joel today just our monthly stats, nothing super remarkable. One of the things I want to brag on is one of our officers, Rick Smith, reached out. There's a national program. We did a Facebook deal, and I think we did a press release also. There's a national program. There's an attempt to get fire, EMS, and police all on the same page as far as active assailant type response and training. And so we were able to host this national level program this last weekend, and had several departments represented. The Southern Boone Schools, super generous, gave us a building for the whole weekend, and trained it, went really well. I know you just got them today. These Tuesdays that are on the 2nd are a hassle for us on these numbers. Anyway, I know you give me time to review them, but if you have any questions about anything like that, as always, feel free to contact me.
Any questions, police chief?
No, I'd say thanks. We had our big event out at Lakeside Ashland and they had a presence out there. And I know we were kind of surprised by the late big turnout, and certainly will be in better communication if we do it
And
again.
as expected, we didn't have none of issues.
Everyone was
It was-
super pleased, and we
it was nice.
actually, yeah, asked folks, is this your first time at Lakeside? And it was for a lot of folks, I think it was a good event for the city, but certainly, I think people felt really appreciative of your presence.
We're
So thank
glad to be there. They have good cheeseburgers.
Thanks, sir. Moving on to Alderman report, Alderman Bocart,
No report.
Alderman Ravencraft,
No report.
Alderman Colbert, Alderman Bell.
I think Alderwoman Colbert got back to, we had talked at the last meeting just about a constituent concern, and I know you guys kind of informed me, and I think it was summarized by Alderwoman Colbert. I think we're waiting on some action by the developer, but obviously that's kind of still outstanding. And I think we'll work together to try to fill them in and monitor the progress. So just, I know I kind of reported on that last time, but we'll stay in
You need to
touch.
stop raining.
Yeah, certainly. And it looks like the next 2 days are not gonna help there. but We're hopeful. Thank you, though, for the updates.
Alderman Wilson? No report. And Alderman Lewis?
No report.
All right. Any comments from the public? General comments? No? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.